auto priority talker in Discord.
Okay, that makes sense. It's already in the stream. It's fine. And folks, if anyone's watching, wondering why is there not a live chat this March when YouTube decided to change its algorithm, it apparently just nerfed my channel hardcore and decided, regardless of what my settings are, that I am a family-friendly, which I mean technically I am, family-friendly channel, and it's not allowing live chat. It shows on my side that I have live chat. It shows on my side that this stream is actually 18 plus, but nobody can see it. So we're just gonna talk, and it's gonna end up being a podcast where we just engage with each other, and there'll be a VOD afterwards. Feel free to leave anything down in the comments below, what you're thinking, based on what you're seeing, based on what you're hearing. It's all good. Thanks anyways for showing up.
Yeah, we would love to hear what you have to say as far as this discussion is going to go today. Jericho, why don't you let them know what we're going to be talking about today?
So what we're doing today is we're going to be talking about the FPS mechanics and gameplay changes that are coming up sometime in the future. We'll be seeing maybe some of the armors iterating in 4.7, and the rest of the changes will be in the future at some point. I'm thinking this year. We'll talk about that a little bit. And this is all coming from the latest Star Citizen Live podcast by CIG, Jared Disco Lando, and his team there.
Yeah, so if you're not aware, we recently had a Star Citizen Live, and they discussed that they are planning to add in some major armor changes. Jericho, why don't we talk about those armor changes a little bit?
All right. Talking about armor changes. Yes, this is me. This is Jericho, freezing to death here in my armor, but taking the scenery. We're gonna do the Jericho. Jericho, pull it up. And let's see if I can pull it up. Still learning.
Oh, it looks like we are actually freezing to death. I am going to go ahead and close the doors so that we don't die.
Thanks, buddy. We don't want to die. Let's see. What do we want? We want the. Discord capture is on. I'm going to turn your volume off on that for now. Let's talk about what we got going on here. I get all my information from pipelines. We can talk about a few different things. Within combat armor, there's going to be several different roles. They're talking about differentiated roles in FPS gameplay. So we're going to have stuff like tanks and medics and supports and stealth, and we're going to go through each one, tell you what we think, talk about it, and let's see. Within combat armor, there will be several different roles, starting with assault armor. Assault armor, we kind of already have it in game. Which armors exactly are going to be assault armor? Don't know yet. We have strong damage absorption, that's going to happen. We're used to that. Integrated crosshairs. Let's talk about integrated crosshairs being so far only in the assault armor. Now we're wearing Kelva helmets, so we don't have crosshairs, but the majority of helmets do have the combat crosshair. How do we feel about losing that in a lot of armor?
Yeah, so I mean, that is going to be a huge change as far as it comes to FPS combat. I mean, we're talking things like even when you're doing things with like your multi-tool, you know, having that integrated crosshair in your helmet has just always been so helpful, and not having that anymore in most armors is probably going to be a huge hit. But I imagine there's going to be some sort of, you know, there's got to be some sort of changes to the other armors to make up for not having that integrated crosshair. I mean, and on top of that integrated crosshair, I mean, there's going to be so many more changes besides that to these combat armors, and then the way that they're going to spec these out.
Yeah, we'll see what they do with it. Personally, I hope that the crosshairs stay in a lot of armors, that it's not just going to be specifically heavy armor, but that we'll have a combat variant of light, medium, heavy. Now, there's not much information, but do you think with each role we're going to start getting a light, a medium, and a heavy? Not necessarily super heavy, since that's going to be a tank, and we'll talk about super heavy in a bit, but do you think we're going to get a unique protection iteration for each combat role, engineering role, etc.? Which ones do we get? Which ones don't we get? What do we have for that?
Well, I mean, so I imagine they're not just going to completely phase out all armors. You know, I imagine some of the armor sets that we already have in game are going to be re-spec'd into the roles of, you know, stealth, and then the assault armor, or, you know, like they have. I mean, if we just scroll down a little bit further on the list, we'll see things like the specialist armors. You know, they plan on having the medical armors.
Oh, wait.
Armors.
Medical armor. We have medical armor. We
do have the medical armors already. We had the, what was it? The medical kits got released.
Yeah, we got the medical kits. I just pulled it up here. We have Morozov, heavy. I think it's called Lifeline. I could be totally wrong here.
Yeah.
Lifeline. I love this armor, by the way.
Oh gosh, I mean, the light version of it. Just look at that. That is definitely my favorite version.
Now, medium armor. That's not my favorite. In fact, I absolutely hate the MacFlex backpack. I thought they hard failed. I think they should have taken that GCD backpack and made it a red light.
That would have been excellent.
I think this was a hard miss. The armor itself is also...
I mean, I do understand why they've made the decision to go with the MacFlex backpack. There's not really any other variants of the MacFlex backpack. I mean, if you think about it, the Zeus backpack has the Sterling variant. Right there, you see the Cataby backpack is also getting a new variant with this light set. But I mean, as far as the MacFlex goes, it's just the MacFlex, you know? So it is nice to see them adding a little bit more for people who do enjoy that design of the backpack.
Dude, this backpack
I personally will definitely be getting the light set just for the backpack. The Cataby backpack is my favorite backpack in the game. So yeah, I mean, that is a must-have backpack right there. The armor itself, I mean, maybe I can mix and match with some other armor sets. Oh, and then I see right there, yeah, you pulled up the Chiron AA armor. So that brings us to the question of, is that going to be spec'd out as one of those medical armors?
Yeah, and what sort of combat bonuses are we going to get? Now, we know this should be a medical armor, and even the Chiron set that you can loot in the game, it's got the medic cross on it. So those should be medic armors, and we should be able to see the health of our teammates. Now, it might also be the health of our enemies. Let's go back up, take a look here. Medical armor allows players to scan people nearby, immediately see their health and medical information. That's people. That's everybody. So you can see how your enemies are doing if they're within scanning range, and depending on I guess what their output is, or their, what's it called? It's
their
emissions.
I'm not sure what it's called. I'm not sure if it's going to be called emissions for FPS or not.
True. This is kind of what we talked about with ship emissions.
Yeah,
this will give
true.
medics better situational awareness during rescue or combat medical situations. Imagine that you're in a situation that's just absolute crazy madness, or maybe one of your bros is not on mic, and you can actually tab scan them, or whatever it might be at the time, and you know who you have to heal without a combat call out. They just be on the dot with that.
I mean, I can tell you, Jericho, we at the Space Monkeys for sure are very excited for these different spec armors. I mean, we already have people that have dedicated roles. We have dedicated medics. We have dedicated engineers. I mean, having these armor specs that are going to just greatly assist us in performing our designated roles is just going to be absolutely fantastic, and it is going to be so helpful in every combat scenario. That is a given for sure.
Alright, so we didn't finish assault armor. The next thing that we got here is good radar capability. So we're seeing that different armors, different set types are going to have different radar capabilities. So if you're a combat armor, of course you need situational awareness at all times, right? So you need to be able to scan
100%.
and find your enemies. And we'll get to stealth armor next, and that's what stealth armor for, is avoiding that detection. As well as sound, and we'll get to sound because it goes through it. There's so much to unpack in here. Here's a huge hit to the player base right now. Everyone likes wearing heavy armor. Everybody likes assault armor that has the integrated crosshair. No EVA capability. Now, we don't know what armor is going to be technically assault armor, but I imagine a vast majority of these armors are not going to be EVA.
And that brings up such an interesting aspect of combat. I mean, so many people, like you said, so many people like to run around in heavy armor. I'm guilty of it myself. I personally heavy armor main, but I EVA all the time. I love going into EVA. I love EVA gameplay, combat, love everything about it. If I'm out in a fighter, my ship gets destroyed, I am immediately ejecting and I'm EVAing over to the nearest enemy ship. So not having that EVA capability in my armor is definitely going to be an interesting change.
Now, I don't have the specs yet on this Mond armor. I just pulled up one of the Mond armors. Or Mondi, I don't know. I'm assuming Mond. And it looks like it should be space rated, and a lot of what I would consider to probably be assault armors look like they're space rated, but they might not be. Now this one, maybe it's some sort of hybrid, I don't know. But that looks like a spacesuit if you ask me.
We'll see, and then that brings up that excellent transition into our next point, the exploration armors.
Yeah, we can hop to exploration. What is it? Specialist, resource specialist, explorer armors.
Yes, yes. So those are supposedly going to be kind of your jack of all trades armors. So it will EVA, it'll have decent defense, it'll have your crosshairs, your scanning, just pretty much everything except for those very specialized things that the armor sets are going to give you.
I didn't even realize, not only does it have broad scanning tools, but it has resource scanning capability. It really is going to be a jack of all trades. Now,
yes.
is CIG setting themselves up for failure with a jack of all trades armor like this? Are they just trying to pander to the player base, do you think?
We'll see. So I imagine these explorer armors are going to be something like our current exploration suits, where we have that limited defense, but we still get the ability to carry around the heavy backpack. We still get both guns. We get we only get 2 med pen slots on those exploration suits. So I that would be my best guess as far as the exploration armor goes, is it'll be something along the lines of those, where it has its definite drawbacks, but it also has that jack of all trades, you know, where you can just wear it wherever you need to go. That's your suit that you've got. So when you go out on a long exploration trip, or you're going out to do heavy, like multiple different mission types at once, it gives you that option of being able to just bring along the one armor set.
Now, there's another thing, and I don't see it on the screen. Maybe you can grab it for me and pop it into our chat here. There's a section where they talk about flight suits, and I think I must have missed that one, and that would be in our SC News. Looking at Pico here, Pico clearly has a flight helmet, and obviously with that would be a flight suit. We do have some information for the future of flight suits. Hopefully we can find something pretty soon, but we don't have any flight suits in the chat currently. Not that I can see. Flight suits are going to make you more G-force resistant. You'll get the specs up. I know there's two types of flight suits. You got combat flight suits, and you got racing flight suits, and they're going to each have their own uses and instances. So we'll get back to Pico in a little bit. We'll talk about something that we do have information on.
All right, that should have just come through to the channel.
This came through flight suits. Dude, you are fast. Is your name Jamie? Jamie pulled it up for us.
Yeah, it's what I do. It's what I do.
Armor specialization. We got flight suits. It's gonna be, and it's saying still, we got light armor, medium, heavy. That's not gonna change entirely. Just a broader system. Now, helmets are gonna play a role. So first we see flight helmets. We're talking about that. Flight helmets are gonna focus on ship systems. MFDD information will be projected into the visor, allowing pilots to view ship data through their helmet interface. We kind of have that now. The question I have is, are we going to lose that automatic HUD on the other helmets?
You know, from what they're saying, that's what it's sounding like. It sounds like maybe we're either going to lose it completely, or maybe we're just going to have reduced information. Maybe there's going to be like a limit to the amount that the MFD cast is able to display for us in different helmet types. But I mean, as far as ship combat goes, that is going to have a major impact. I feel like they're going to have to get suit lockers working before they implement any of this.
Suit locker is going to be huge. Now I'm thinking, the way that they've said this is that you can mix and match pieces, and your set bonuses will increase per piece you have equipped. It's going to be nice, but if you're flying, you're going to want to put on a flight helmet. If you're flying a light fighter, you're going to want a flight suit. So let's get down to the flight suits, armor impact on ship handling. That's a good place to start. Heavy armor.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry about that, buddy. Heavy armor will negatively impact G-force tolerance, making it harder to handle aggressive maneuvers or tight turns. Pilots flying in heavy combat armor will feel these limitations during flight. What I see there is, if you're trying stuff in a light fighter, an Arrow, a Gladius, a Wolf, you're going to be passing out non-stop.
Constantly, yes. That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. Is it's sounding like those G-forces are going to have so much more of a significant effect. So as far as even pilot roles, if you want to fly something that's small and fast and maneuverable, you're going to have to be limited to a flight suit and a flight helmet. But I mean, if you're just you know, taking your hauler across the verse to drop off some cargo, doesn't really matter what you're wearing when you're flying, because you're probably not going to be pulling any high G-force maneuvers.
Right. Now we do know that the combat flight armor is actually, you're not wearing the flight suit underneath, you're just wearing an undersuit, but your chest piece there, the RSI Venture, is a, I'm pretty sure it's a flight suit applicable chest piece. And
something similar to the Ace pilot flight suits.
Yep, absolutely. We're talking about how equipment should match the activity you're performing. Flight suits in total here. Combat flight suits, racing flight suits. So if you were wearing a flight suit underneath, and a flight helmet. You would have combat side EVA capability. That's nice. You know, if you get downed, you want to be able to eject and survive. A little bit of damage mitigation. You know, you got that chest piece there. Inventory capacity, as we know, or if you've ever looted an Ace pilot, you know that he's got some room in there. You're not going to be that resistant to cold or heat. Slightly lower G-force tolerance than racing suits. So if you're moving between ship combat and FPS combat smoothly, if you're going to perform a boarding operation maybe, as a small ship or a solo pilot, you might want to be wearing a combat flight suit setup.
Oh, yes. I mean, especially if you're going to be doing boarding, like PvP, you know, you're definitely going to get into FPS combat at that point.
Now, racing flight suits have excellent G-force resistance, so if you're doing the highest maneuvers, I can see a lot of PvP sweats actually wearing racing suits when they're flying the Arrow, Gladius, and the Wolf.
Oh, yeah.
It's just gonna be the meta. It's not gonna matter. If you're in a fighter, it's not gonna matter how much armor you have, honestly. And strong environmental resistance, again, doesn't really matter for flight itself, but if you're using them for races, Daymar races, Stella Fortuna races, you can race in cold, heat, and it's not going to affect you as you're going. That's going to be kind of nice. To an extent, I'm sure. No radar in a racing suit. So, again, you're not doing FPS. No EVA capability. So on the PvP side, I guess maybe this is more of a murder hobo or a griefer kind of setup if they're doing a racing flight suit. I was a little bit off.
Oh, okay.
If your ship gets downed and you eject, you're dead anyways with a racing flight suit.
It's game over at that point. So I mean, it would have to be some sort of combat flight suit at that point.
Have to be a combat flight suit. I bet the murder hobos are still going to run the racing flight suits because they just have nothing better to do with their time, honestly.
I agree completely.
Now we're talking about EVA a lot, and it's up here on the screen, so we'll grab it if I can. I have to learn how to highlight things first. Baby's first highlighter. EVA changes as they tie into flight suits. Obviously, dependent on the armor we're wearing. We know this. Not every armor is going to support EVA. We know this. Armors are designed for environments where EVA is not expected. Now, thinking about like the assault armor, I have wanted a reason to have like a partial drop-down visor on a helmet to kind of have that cool military look and be on the ground and do a cool ground op with a crosshair visor. Just that, I don't know, that LARP. So if you're planning a ground op, you're gonna want ground armor. If you're planning a space op, you're gonna want EVA armor. And honestly, you might always want an EVA ready helm in your ship or in your suit locker, just in case. That's the whole point of suit lockers: is ships going down, I need to save myself from suffocating.
Exactly. Yes. That's what it's sounding like. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, like I said, they're gonna have to get these suit lockers working before they do any of this.
All right, buddy. Look at this. I didn't even read this before. The team is also introducing EVA backpacks, which will provide additional fuel and oxygen for extended EVA activity. There's more to unpack than what they said. So what they're saying is we're going to have limited oxygen in our EVA tanks. We're not going to be able to float for 20 kilometers. With or without a fire extinguisher.
Oh,
we're gonna have limited fuel and oxygen, so we can only move so far too. Those little thrusters aren't gonna do as much. We're gonna run out of oxygen. So EVA backpack is gonna be kind of cool.
Oh man, this is yeah. So that's another thing, that EVA backpack. Do you think that's our first iteration of a jetpack in this game?
It could be. I certainly wouldn't mind a jetpack. I think CIG is kind of for the idea, since they made the fire extinguishers kind of propel us. I don't know if they're just letting us have fun or what. Jetpack would be fine. I don't know about jetpacks in atmosphere. I think that'll create a PvP meta that just overwhelms a lot of people.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
All right, what do we got next? What do we got? Stealth armor. Stealth armor. Now, we all know about Geist armor. Came into the game with the ASD Onyx facilities. We all thought it was amazing. We all hunted for hours and hours, hundreds of boxes, looking for the ASD pieces. I actually still don't have a full set, but I mean, as a merchant, I was just selling them. At the time, you know, getting 20 million for a backpack was obnoxious money, and now that's just kind of chump change. It is hilarious just to think about.
I remember those days.
We got the Wicklow edition, really dope. It lost its hood at some point, and its cape. That was really disappointing. Now it's back. Stealth armor is something that I've been really excited for in the game. Ideally, I would be a stealth combat player. Granted, my skill level when it comes to agility and Abe does not line up with that. Let's take a look at stealth armor. Right here. Minimizing detection, reduced emissions. It was emissions. I got the right word. They're calling it emission. That when it comes to a human body, emissions just sounds wrong, though. I mean, let's be real. Let's be real.
Yeah, the human body's emissions.
Lower sound signature. So footsteps are going to come into play massively, and they talk about footsteps or sound signature in two places. Better stealth gameplay potential. Obviously, stealth armors are going to have less glowing lights on them. They're going to be a little more muted in color. They're going to have matte tones instead of shiny tones, hopefully. Intended for infiltration, reconnaissance, silent operations. I think we're going to see a lot of this in the contested zones or any PvP area. QV breaker station if you're in one of the contested or shared locations. I don't remember if it's 4 or 5 groups. I think it's 4 groups that can be at a shared location. So having someone stealth to run forward and see if there's anybody there could be huge. As well as just the people that walk behind everyone and knife them and make them drop their guns, and you get to steal their tier 0 loot, you know?
Such good times. Alright. Let's see. Oh man, I'm so excited for these armor changes. It's gonna add so much depth to the gameplay.
Yeah, dude, we're looking at 4.7 changes in all they're bringing, and that's a ton. I mean, we've got armor changes to ships, we've got shield changes to ships, we have basically changes on how the gun you bring to the fight impacts it. We have new radars, new combat distances, we got the QV breaker stations, we got crafting, a new inventory system coming, and then they drop this bomb on us that this is coming in the near future too.
Yeah, they said 90% complete from a design standpoint.
90% complete.
We might be looking at a 4.8 release on this.
You know what I'm feeling on this 90% complete? My personal thought, and I could be way off here, but that all of this is actually in Squadron 42 already, and all they need to do for the 10% is implement it in our live service gameplay, and then balance it for PvP.
That, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, because they have been putting so much work into Squadron 42 this year. Pretty much everything that we've gotten in Star Citizen has just been trickled down from the work that they've been doing in Squadron 42. Which brings me to my next point, the super heavy armor.
Super heavy armor.
So we have concept art of something called the Titan X, or the Titan Combat Suit, which I think is going to be the super heavy armor class.
Jamie,
I think it's
pull it
going
up.
to be a class of combat mechs. Yeah, have you seen that? Can you pull that up?
Yeah, I already did. I actually said Jamie pull it up after the fact. Oh, genuinely, what I see here is something between a railgun and a volt weapon, is what he's carrying.
Yeah.
And this is like a super heavy LMG. Now it could be that this is going to be the super heavy armor, and it could be is that they replace this idea with the Atlas Icties. I hope that's not true. I hope.
Gosh, I really hope not.
Dude,
If that is what the Icty was supposed to be, and the Icty is what we got, I'm gonna be upset.
Could you imagine walking through a CZ with your team? You got like one stealth guy, one medic, and you're pretty squishy, right? And then this dude comes walking through the door with a gun that should be on a ship, not in human hands. And it says above that where are we? Super heavy armor. It's somewhere. Probably walked right over it right here.
Now, I imagine if the super heavy armor is something like that Titan suit, there's going to be limits on the areas where you're able to even take it. And I feel like a CZ would be one of those places where you wouldn't be able to bring it.
That would be hopeful. Hopefully it's really hard. You gotta load it in a ship. Maybe it's gotta be walked into and equipped in a freight elevator. Then again, when you're doing a dungeon like the QV Breaker Station, ASD facility, you know, it's part of the gameplay loop. So let's look at super heavy armor. It says beyond traditional heavy armor, they plan to introduce super heavy super heavy armor. Super heavy armor. These suits will offer extremely high durability and strength, but come with major limitations such as reduced mobility and strict weapon restrictions. So if it's like that giant thing there, you're going to be restricted to the things that literally attach to the suit. Now, if it's something smaller, that's just a big heavy armor, I would imagine that you could go anywhere. You're going to be super slow. Your ergonomics, like how fast you aim, your aim down sight time, is going to be super slow. And what's going to happen is you're only going to be able to use like LMGs, railguns, stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, special weapons and large guns. See, I can understand where that. I would understand if that was the route that they planned to take with it, but no matter what, I need that Titan suit.
I think we all need that Titan suit. I could see that being what I do in the game, is run that Titan, being the tank, just because I'm skill limited, and I may as well limit my skill in comparison with the speed that I can aim my gun anyways. I'll be helpful by being the giant tank threat. Everyone's got to take down, and I'll be the sacrifice. I'd be okay with that, personally. Oh, here's a huge one that we need to talk about that'll be helpful. Engineering armor. So engineers are going to be able to wear that armor, view component health and engineering information, help them identify damaged systems, and perform repairs more efficiently. What do we think about that?
We'll see. While we're on that topic, I believe that we actually already have gotten a couple of those engineer armors in game. Those past couple of utility armors they released, the Palatino and the Corbel. I feel like perhaps those are going to be their ideas of those utility armors, or engineer armors, because they, like I said, they were listed as utility armor. So I imagine it's either going to end up being engineer or one of those exploration armors.
Let's take a look. Now, Palatino was listed as a tech armor. Palatino. This is Corbel. Now, Corbel was listed as a, what did you just call it there? Not an engineering armor, but...
utility armor.
Utility armor.
Is what it's listed as.
So I could see this being a heavy engineer. And then we got the Strata armor that we all got from the resource drive. I
Oh
100%
yeah.
expect that to be engineering armor to some extent.
I think you might be right. I completely forgot about that strata armor. Yeah, just based on like the design of it, and I believe even in the description of the strata armor, the in-game description, it describes it as utility armor.
Now, the Palatino is described as tech armor. I had a theory that I had crafted in the past, and I already theory crafted about all of these set bonuses, and I'm glad to know I was right. I see soft padding, I see non-conductive materials, and then I see these wires that go through everything. And what I'm
Yeah.
thinking is either some sort of battery pack system where you get a bonus to your energy weapons, or this armor is made to take reduced damage from energy weapons, where it'll dissipate that, it'll ground you essentially down to the ground, and it takes it all and it runs it through those wires and it forces it down into the floor wherever you're at, so that you take less
Oh,
energy, like volt damage, right?
oh my goodness, Jericho. What if they implement a ballistic laser weapon triangle as far as FPS combat goes, similar to the way that we currently have with ship combat,
Mm-hmm.
where we have a certain level of shield on certain armors, and then laser weapons have to get through that shielding before they can do proper damage, whereas ballistics will deal reduced damage while that shield is up.
See, um, I see this as a ballistic armor, right? The Morozov is a ballistic armor. You
Mm-hmm.
see all of this heavy metal plating, not as much
Exactly.
energy resistance. But then we go into the Palatino, and I see lots of energy resistance, maybe laser resistance, maybe it's a trifecta. Um, by energy, I mean I'll call it volt, and then
Yes.
laser, and then ballistic.
Yes. My goodness. Can you? Oh man,
Like the
that'd be insane.
plasticky armors, like the Chiron, maybe that's laser. Maybe
Yeah,
this Palat
that could be
maybe
sort of like a
Palatino's
reflective
volt,
surface.
and then things like these hard plate metal armors, Morozov is going to be ballistic. I could be wrong, but that would be amazing.
I mean, this is pure speculation here, but my goodness, the depth of gameplay that would add.
Now, next on the list is resource specialist armor. Not my biggest thing right now, but I am gonna have to fill Banu Merchantman at some point with the best armor and weapons in the game, because I gotta sell something, right? And my plan is to be the best merchant, maybe the most popular merchant in the verse. Resource specialist armor. It's gonna force not force, but it's gonna help players such as miners and salvagers benefiting from resource scanning. You can detect resources more easily, send scanning pings for resources, and gather detailed information about nearby rocks and mining opportunities. Details. Um, what kind of rock is it? And hopefully, what is the quality of that rock? We can talk about
That
4.7 crafting and quality coming up with this.
See, so that is where this resource armor, the resource specialist armor, is going to be huge, because with crafting coming in, we are going to be required to find these high level materials if we want to craft better equipment. And having that armor to show us, especially if it shows us the quality of the materials before you mine them, that's going to be huge. You won't have to waste, just move on to the next one until you find what you're looking for.
That's going to be massive because, I mean, like you said, quality is going to be paramount when it comes to crafting. And the devs have said in the past that crafting is going to be the foundation of player scaling or player progression in Star Citizen. I don't care how you feel about it, this is what they've said, this is the reality. Now, a lot of people might not like that. They're like, I don't like grinding, I don't like resource gathering, I don't like this. good for you. You can go make money somewhere doing whatever you want to do, and then you can come to my Bound and Merchantman and you can buy it from me. It's okay.
See, I, for one, am all for the progression change. I think that players have had access to far too much immediately, and it really hurts the balance of gameplay when one player is required to start off with nothing but a starter ship and a flight suit, while another player starts off with something like an entire fleet and an entire set of 17 different armors and 25 different weapons. This crafting locking progression is going to be huge as far as balancing the game goes. And when they inevitably get to crafting ships, I hope that they gate larger ships and stronger ships behind crafting recipes, and you're required to complete missions and get your rep up before you're able to use them.
Now, I don't see it here, but I know we can talk about it, and it's partially right in here. The broader system will include multiple armor categories, clothing.
Oh, yes!
You were my first armor stacking clothing guy, so I'm going to let you take this one. What do you think about clothing and the new Star Wear system?
I am so excited for the ability to wear clothing in conjunction with armor. I have seen people armor stacking clothing with armor for so long. I was able to armor stack a jacket with some armor once, and it just the appeal that it has, and just the level of customization that comes from me being able to stack your armor with clothing. It's going to open up so many doors for players like me personally. I love to customize my armor. I'm constantly swapping different armor sets. I'm constantly hunting the new cool looking armor sets. I mean, that is my primary game loop at this point in the game. And being able to stack those different clothing items with those armors is going to provide the ability to customize our looks, and the uniqueness that will come from it is what I am most excited for. Seeing what everybody comes up with is just going to be the greatest thing ever.
It's going to be amazing. One thing they talked about with clothing was that they're going to add more armored clothing to the game, so that you can wear, if you want to be a fully clothed person, you could wear it and still be able to look good, drip out, but have a little bit of protection at certain places. And the other thing that they've talked about with clothing, that I think is about clothing, let me be clear, is that they mentioned that certain places you go will restrict what you can wear. Now, I'm thinking, if you're in an armistice zone, you ought to be wearing something that is not combat-oriented.
See, and that would make complete sense, but even beyond just armistice zones, it's possible that we'll end up with missions that restrict what kinds of armors you can wear even.
Missions could, certain environments, we could go into an underground dungeon delve that is not oxygen rich and we are forced to wear an EVA suit. I again am personally a proponent for, if you're walking around Area 18 and it's an armistice zone, you shouldn't magically be prevented from pulling out your gun. You should be forced to surrender your gun either before customs, not even before customs, honestly, because you can murder a lot of people. Before you get out of your hangar, you should be forced to surrender your guns, put it in storage or throw it in your suit locker in your ship, and then store your ship. And until all of that is unequipped, you can't access the elevator. This is my personal opinion. I think it would increase immersion. Maybe it would be a little bit of a pain in the rear, but I think this is what they're going for. I could be wrong.
That would definitely be an interesting change. Not being able to carry your guns outside of your hangar maybe they could implement some form of suit locker weapon rack towards near where the storage terminals are, and then you just, you hang up your suit, you hang up your guns, and you be on your way into the city.
All right. Do we have anything else we've missed here? We did Starware, we did flight suits. We know we're getting light, medium, and heavy, super heavy planned for the future. I'm super excited for all of these changes. I know some people are going to complain and be like, wow, it's just World of Warcraft or whatever. This is an MMORPG. It's also a space simulator. This game is so many things. So you could almost say this game is every type of game all at once. I think it's fine to add so many facets to FPS gameplay in the same way that we have so many facets of space gameplay with ships.
I agree 100%. I for one could not be more excited for these changes. And I know everybody in the org is feeling the same way. Like I said, we already have our separate factions of the org. We already have dedicated roles within the org, and so just adding these set bonuses and being able to properly class out or spec out is just going to be so huge as far as immersion and org gameplay goes. Being able to have your dedicated healers, your dedicated engineers, your dedicated miners, being able to have like a stealth sect of combat where they can get in and do reconnaissance, and then send that back to the main force of your combats and your super heavies. It's going to add so much depth of gameplay. It's going to add so much more just org gameplay in general. It's going to make that so much more consistent and enjoyable. I think this is a major win for SIG and for us.
Speaking of orgs, now I'm part of your org, and I just opened up my own org, Voice of Jericho, for any Christians out there that would like to be in a Christian environment. Like-minded people, super chill, super friendly, and I'm a merchant by trade, so it's a merchant org, social and trading, sharing the gospel where we can, not shoving it down people's throats, but just genuinely out here loving people. And as part of the Space Monkeys, Hero here is the Space Monkeys leader, and tell me about your position specifically, because I think it was a pretty funny role that you have as our leader, and tell us a little bit about the Space Monkeys.
So, like we've already said, I am the org leader for very specifically the Space Monkey Marine Corps sect of our org. We handle the military operations, combat operations for the Space Monkey Universal Services. So anytime, if somebody needs, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like a ship support or ground support. If somebody's going into, somebody's trying to deliver cargo and they want an escort, or they're trying to go in and complete a mission and they're looking for just some backup, or even if let's say somebody wants to go run an executive hangar, but they're worried about the PvP. You let us know. Our motto is you pay, we deploy, they fall.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, in the wider branch, we have the entire Space Monkey Universal Services, and this comes back to where I was talking about how we already have our specific dedicated roles in our org, and how we have our specific dedicated sects. We have the Space Monkey Marine Corps for the combats, so I imagine we'll mostly be wearing medic armor or the combat armor or the super heavy armor. And then there is the Monkey Wrench fleet. That is going to be our more industrial side of the org. My good friend Malenko is going to be the org leader of the Monkey Wrench fleet. They're going to handle all of like the salvaging, the mining, the engineering. That's going to be their jive. And then, of course, we have the Space Monkey Supply Syndicate, which Jericho here would be the org leader of. Let's see. As he said, he just recently started his org, the Voice of Jericho. So under Voice of Jericho, his sect of our universal services is handling all of the merchant and supply side of the org. So anything, if you're looking for any specific items, if you're looking for any specific loot, I mean, that's what the Supply Syndicate takes care of. I myself am also a merchant, but that's just kind of a side trade for me.
Yeah, I run everything for the Supply Syndicate, and essentially our orgs are fully co-opted. If anyone wants to join up and say they're not a Christian believer or don't want anything to do with Christian org, anyone that is interested in Voice of Jericho is automatically inducted into the Space Monkeys, as long as you're a chill person. You're not looking to be a griefer, you're not looking to be a pirate role player, stuff like that. After the initial vetting process, we'll play with you, we'll get to know you just a tiny bit, and we'll throw you right into the Space Monkeys. And the same, any Space Monkeys that join, they're Christian believers that want to be part of this trading and marketing role. Evangelism can come join Voice of Jericho. We're not exclusive. You can be part of both orgs. We don't care about any of that, and it's not bureaucratic. We're super chill on both orgs, both sides. And if you still want to do the trading and you don't want to be part of Voice of Jericho, you can still be in the Space Monkeys, and you would just be under the Supply Syndicate side of things.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I guess I should mention we have one rule, and it's the most important rule, and that is no griefing. We are not cool with griefing. That is any griefing. That's an automatic kick. I'm sorry. That's just not our loot. You know. We specifically the entire reason for our org existing is to stop the griefers.
Now, the last piece that we haven't talked about is where we're getting to what's coming in 4.7, and I just want to be specific about FPS changes, right? So we've got a few previews or leaks that have been put out to us. This one's the Azrael helmet in blue. We already had the red and the gold one. Blue one's coming out. I think everyone loves these helms. People waited for 7 years for these helms, I think it was. CIG promised them, then they never came out, and they said, hey, we got the technology, we got the team, let's get them out.
I am so excited for this Sapphire version. The blue is perfect, and it's going to go with the Space Monkeys Org Armor DCP sets so well.
Look at the hex pattern on that. That
Wow,
is so nice.
Yeah. It is unbelievable how good these helmets look. And I mean, I've seen the yellow and the red one in game, and they look just as good in game, if not better.
Okay, let's talk about the Mond armor. Now, we were promised the Mond armor, and this was a leak I was excited for, and they showcased this one here first, and I thought, this is going to be good. Now, I'm seeing the chrome one here. It still looks pretty good. Not as good as the initial teaser looked to me. Let's talk about what we think about each variant of it. Do you like this chrome one?
I mean, let's see, which one is... Yeah, I do. Yeah, so the chrome one with the black visor, I'm a really big fan of that. I've never really been a big fan of the transparent visors in the game. I think you know what I'm talking about, Jericho. Every time you put on one of those helmets with a transparent visor, it changes your face to the default face.
Yep, it changes you to the default face, and especially, me specifically. And here, I'll show everybody. Um, Hopefully I don't suffocate to death here. Looks like we're fine. What are we? Number 2. I've created a character painstakingly. This is my iteration of Amos Burton from The Expanse Prime Video series, Amazon series.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored at all, but I just like it, and I love character creation. And when I put on a helmet with a face visor, I don't get this face, I lose the beard, and actually my hair disappears, and I end up being like a hyper, like 98% balded man with just a few little strings of hair on the top of my head. Actually, if you look at my FPS rewards video for the AA Alliance Aid reward, clearing the air event, and you look at the Chiron armor, there is a moment where you can see the little tiny strands of hair on the top of my head and how ridiculous it looks. People spend so much time trying to get their armor to look just right. Not their armor, but their overall look is what I'm saying. Just right, and then you get a bad face visor, and it ruins everything.
And it just ruins it all. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
So, right here, here's the issue for me. I like that silver one because of the black, but now we've got the white one popped up, and I'm gonna be honest, I hate this. I don't like this at all.
Yeah, no, I don't. I've got to be honest. The only other one that I may even possibly be interested in is the black and red.
I don't want a Molina mold. I just got a contract available. That was hilarious.
Are you sure you don't want to go do some AA?
No, I'm done. I'm really good. I'd rather sit in the back of a Cutlass and talk about armor. Yeah, this one.
Man.
This one's not bad.
But they need it. They need our assistance, Jericho. They need it.
I'm done dealing with space COVID personally.
That is so accurate. Back to the Mond armor. I think the Mond armor, besides the helmet, is looking really good. The torso, I'm not a huge fan of, but I think those arm and legs are going to provide an excellent opportunity for armor mixing. I think they're going to look really good with other sets.
These arms, I don't care about the rest of it. I'm going to use these arms in so many combinations.
Yes.
Let's move to the next one. Oh, this is Mass Effect. I don't think you were a Mass Effect guy. I've played all of the Mass Effects, and this is some N7 armor. I'm gonna have to have this set.
This is the one that I am 100% going to be getting. This is the only one that I like for sure. And then I'm probably gonna try and get the carbon steel red and black. That one does look pretty darn nice if you ask me. The only thing that really brings it down is that helmet. But those arms are going to go so good with so many sets.
Now, we've discussed in the org plenty of times, red is my favorite color. Red is not your favorite color. You're wearing it today because we found a really dope undersuit. I know this new one is coming, and this is a pretty sweet armor too. It at least shades the visor red, gives you some unique lighting, and it has nice contrast. I'm going to need this armor too. This red one. Anything red and black, I have to have it.
Yeah, I am a really big fan of the black carbon steel with the red accents.
Now we have a camo. This is kind of like the Antium Moss variant of Mond. I like it. It gives some UNSC vibes of some sort for me. You're getting into that Master Chief green kind of look going on. The big bulky armor. I like it. I don't know if I would use the helmet. I think I'd swap the helmet out with something. Because again, face visor, not really my thing.
And see, and that is the scenario where you just throw on an Antium Moss camo helmet and move on with your life.
Oh, dude, that's genius. There's no other option, honestly. There. What else do we got? Ooh, oh snap! This is nice. I like this a lot.
Which one are you looking at?
This one is the digital urban camo. I'd call it urban camo. It's got kind of a blue gray tone with a light tan tone. The face
Sorry,
visor is that like
it's not full screening. There we go.
the pearlescent color is going to it. I don't know if this is going to be a Wicklow variant. It also says UEE H44. So this is some United Earth Empire military armor. I'm guessing Wicklow.
Yes, honestly, based on the way that the visor looks, it looks very similar to what we were seeing with the Palatino visor. I imagine this is probably, yes, a Wicklow variant. If it's not this one is the Wicklow variant, I imagine it'll be the silver one with the blacked out visor.
Yeah, this one here, I also see this being Wicklow. The reason I'm thinking
This
that the
one, this may be Pledge.
yeah, this could be what is it? Monthly
Bundle. Yeah.
monthly bundle. Thank you.
Yes, this could end up being our April monthly bundle, or it could drop as possibly a subscriber item.
Now, are these the same? Let's see. No, there's a white with a yellow that I think looks terrible. And now this a different time of day, but this adds more black to the shoulders on this last one.
Yeah, and it has blue on the visor.
Blue on the visor looks good. I'm probably still not gonna wear it.
No. But
Those
if you're
arms.
a fan of the Microtech armor, if you're a fan of stealing the Microtech guard armor, this is probably the set for you right here.
Now we got some savory word. Camera angles from the back.
Yeah, the backpacks. That's
You
the
know,
important.
YouTube has me as family friendly. I try to stay family friendly, but I know a lot of Star Citizen players have their minds in the gutter. I'm not trying to go there. I'm trying to stay absolutely
It is an
savory.
angle from the back of the person. One might say a shot.
Now, you were saying earlier, and oh my goodness, yeah, you're absolutely right. This is a Warden backpack variant.
Yes, so that's what I was saying. So if you look at it, it is a new variant of the Warden backpack. So before it was purely the standard Warden backpack, the dusty yellow looking one with the Dust Devil set. And then we've just recently got the Epoch set not too long ago, which gave us our second version of the Warden backpack. And now it looks like similar to the way that the Corbel backpack is a Novikov backpack, or the way that a Sterling backpack is a Zeus backpack. This is going to be a Warden backpack. So I imagine it's going to have the same storage capacity as a Warden backpack at 150K. However, it is possible that we get a 180K. However, it's very unlikely, since that seems to only be reserved for our exploration backpacks.
Oops, didn't mean to do that. Now, looking at the Warden backpack, and I've never thought of it this way before, but I feel like we're going to have an iteration of heavy armor with this backpack, and it's going to have to be a Starkin. I mean, these are clearly, you know, cat ears up at the top.
I can't believe that I've never seen them.
I can see
It is a cat.
even the shape of the backpack itself kind of looks like the Star Kitten mask itself. I feel like they could do a whole Star Kitten vibe with heavy armor. I think it'd be kind of neat.
That would, honestly, that would be a day one get for me.
Oh, ooh, what's this? United Resource Workers. I wonder how we're gonna get this blue and white armor. Pardon me.
Ooh, that is very interesting.
What are the United Resource Workers? Who are they? Are these the people that are going to send us to the QV breaker stations? Is this going to be a blueprint that we get as a reward for doing Rock Tracker?
That would be very interesting. They are talking about implementing specific rewards for missions as far as blueprints go.
They
So
are
it's
indeed.
possible that those special missions that we do, like the priorities or the investigations, are going to unlock specific blueprints for possible tints of armors.
Here we got some other armor. This is the Outback armor set. Initially, I thought they were gonna to reskin the Stitcher armor. We'll see what they do with the Sandcrawler faction. Or what is it, the Fire Salamanders or something? I can't even remember.
No idea.
There's some sort of sounding like desert dwellers, except based out of Nyx. So we don't have any deserts yet because we don't have any planets. They're coming.
Soon, TM.
This has such a Western vibe to it.
Yeah, I mean, yes, no, 100%. This is giving off Tombstone vibes.
Personally,
the dust mask, the hood, goodness.
the helmet's got to go for me. This is going to be a paladin helmet. I can tell you that for sure. These pants, I mean, they go vibey with the Western stuff, but I might swap those out too.
Now, this brings up the question, what if this ends up being armored clothing?
That very well could be. Now they're calling it so far an armor set, but they talked about armored clothing being armored. Oh, something else here. Something else here. New melee weapon. Do you see this? Is this a decoration or is this a new melee? Is the canteen usable? Are we going to be able to drink and refill our canteen? Because I saw somewhere in 4.7 somebody refilling a coffee mug in a coffee machine.
Oh, really?
Which, I mean, I know I've wanted to do that for a long time. I want to refill my coffee. I want to vibe. I don't do it often, but pretty cool to think about and to be able to do. This one here, this leather look, this one's gonna be mine for sure. What I'm going for. Notice how we got gloves. The gloves are separate. Notice how we seem to have boots that run under. I think you're right. I think this is a clothing armor set.
Similar to the Ixonia armor.
Now, I don't know if it's going to be space rated. It looks like it could be. Can we wear a helmet with it? How is this going to work with Starwear? I don't know. I hope we can armor stack with it. We can put a space rated, maybe an undersuit and a helmet on under it. We can throw all of this on top. I think that would be epic.
That would be so fantastic.
Mix and match is even though you can't really play much in third person, playing in first person, you want to feel as cool as the character you've created.
Exactly.
Now we've got some new graphics for weapons. This is kind of the last little bit of information that we've got that they've given us. Some camo pattern of this is P4, right?
I'm not actually sure.
That's a P8SC from Bearing. This has got to be a P4SC from Bearing right here. That looks good. I like the camo. Maybe this is potentially with that camo armor, but it looks a different color. This, I assume, is Blacklist. Yeah. The most sought after anything in the verse as far as weapons right now. Everybody wants Blacklist. That's all I hear about.
I mean, it looks so good. You've got to be honest.
I mean, it looks good, but I don't get the hype over black weapons because in real life, I just have, there's black weapons everywhere. Black is pretty standard as a color. I like more unique stuff. It does look nice. I just don't get the fascination.
I think the big thing about black weapons right now in game is the lack of FPS scanning being in full black armor with black weapons gives you that stealth benefit.
Let's see what you're number 4. There we go. Yeah, switch out that camera. They gotta have something to look at in the background along with the weapons. Yeah, we got a blacklist. I think this is a Bearing BR2 shotgun.
Yes, that is definitely the BR2.
Now here, you're buying me into the blacklist thing. This looks really clean.
It's very sleek, I have to be honest. I'm a big fan of the Blacklist FS9.
I think this is better than the gunmetal gray. I do prefer the black, the nice matte black, over the gunmetal gray. Although I do really like the chromed silver stuff that they got going on now. Here's another camo pattern on an S71. And I don't know if this was here before. I assume it's on all of them, but I really like how the camo goes with this sort of bronzing that's going on here.
Yeah, so that has always been on the S71. On some of them, it's like that little blue circle. It looks like on this one, it's got that nice bronze to it, and that is very, very nice looking.
Just think of the level of detail on these guns, right? So, you've got this over attachment here, you've got the barrel here, you've got rifling in there. It almost looks like all of this under stuff. You've got this tab that you can pull for attachments. You've got whatever mechanism is happening here. You've got your action, whatever mechanism is here, your clip release, and they even have the safety off.
Yes, they do.
Star Citizen is, if nothing else, a game of detail.
You know, one thing that I've never looked at, but now I'm curious. I wonder if when you switch firing modes, your character switches the little firing tab from full auto to single fire, single action.
We'll have to check it out. Now this is, I think this is an R97 shotgun, if I'm using the right number here. Same design, it's from Gemini. And you can see they have the same stuff everywhere. The bronze, this here, 12 gauge smart ammo, and your mechanism here for pumping instead of being on the bottom. You'll just rack a new cartridge. That's really cool. I mean, you know, all of this information, it's so detailed. Even though this is not a gun I use, I have the Righteous variant of it. It looks really cool. I haven't used it. It's amazing what they can do. Another Gemini weapon. Oh, see, yep, I think these are going to the Mond armors. Let's look at this. This is that black carbon with the red.
Yep, I think you may be right. It's possible that we may be getting variants that match all of the Mond armors, because the camo is the same as one of the Mond armor with the camo, the digital camo.
Okay, I think we have an obvious answer. Looks like we're getting some sort of reward. United Resource Workers again. This matches the white and blue Mond armor. This looks really clean.
Oh yeah, I think we might be getting these as mission blueprint rewards.
Drake, we are getting a Drake Lumen 5 SMG at some point. That's got to be a blueprint, because you're going to be able to craft branded items of all sorts around the verse. Eventually you'll be able to do like your own armor tints, I know they were talking about, maybe even ship paints, and you're going to be able to customize them. And honestly, to me, this looks a bit like a player-made kind of variant. I think maybe they're going for that that player-made feel, this personalization. I really like Drake. You know, you're gonna have RSI paints and stuff like that. What do you think?
I would love to brand all of my guns with Anvil Aerospace.
That's some nice gold plating they got on there.
That is very nice.
Here we have that camo again.
For this.
Now, This is, what is this, Devastator shotgun?
I'm not sure just by looking at it, to be completely honest with you.
Oh wait,
It's
I
not that hard.
think this is a Karna. Kastak Arms.
No way.
Karna's from Kastak, right?
You're right. I think this is a Karna.
You and I use Karnas so much, and we can't even recognize a Karna. Just the way that they've changed it with this not super bright, super flashy camo, this surprised me, and I love this matte finish. That's, I don't even know how to describe this color, but this color right here, it gets me.
Yes, that is perfect.
And last
Now,
but not least,
wish,
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just wish we were getting, I mean, it's possible that we are, more variants.
Hopefully variants. Hopefully variants soon enough will just be craftable blueprint tints, and you'll be able to just like loot an armor and change it to whatever you want as long as you get a blueprint. Another wonderful pulverizer variant here, extra rusty. I don't know what to call this one.
Extra rusty. I think that is the most accurate you could ever be.
I know we have the bloody yellow and the mustard red. That's a nice joke that we got going on. We have the standard.
Can't forget that.
We got the bleach, and now we've got the extra rusty.
I think
tetanus.
I like extra rusty. Yes.
Tetanus.
Tetanus. That is the variant.
All right, pulverizer tetanus. You can poison your enemy with each shot. Over time, they will develop stacks of tetanus damage. No, that's not a thing. That's not official, but it is funny. Now, what do we have here? Is this going to be that carbon steel with the black? Is this just...
It looks like it's also extra rusty.
This is extra rusty with a zigzag pattern.
I believe that rust is just part of the pulverizer.
True. Now we've got zigzag tetanus.
And then camo tetanus after that.
I'm gonna be real. With the camo, this actually looks pretty dope.
It's not bad. It's definitely better than bloody yellow.
What is this? Well, this is a Ripper.
That is a Ripper, yes sir.
Not so.
And it looks like it is a Blackout Ripper SMG.
I don't. We got this. Is not so on it. It's either a Blackout or maybe this is a faction variant.
It's possible.
I like this a whole lot more than the Industria Yellow Ripper. I actually can't stand the standard Ripper at all.
Neither can I. I don't use it at all for that exact reason.
Ooh, now this looks nice. I don't know.
I am a huge fan of the Pulse laser pistol.
Blacklist. This has got to be Blacklist.
Oh, 100%.
And this must go with the red camo. This is nice.
That is a nice red pistol. And you know, it's helpful because we don't really have a lot of red pistols in the game right now.
We don't, and red's my favorite color. Again, are we missing anything? Anything that you had thoughts on as far as how is this going to affect the game? I know we talked about organizations, and you know, as an org in a group, you're gonna want to dedicate people. Like, you're gonna want a dedicated pilot. Like, can't just be, do you feel like flying? Do you feel like flying? I don't know. You know, you're gonna want a pilot. You're gonna want a heavy. You're gonna want a stealth person. You're gonna want a medic.
You're gonna want an engineer. I mean, yeah, exactly.
Oh.
So this is going to add so much depth to group gameplay. It's gonna be so phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, like you said, engineers, I think, is going to be just massive. Just rechecking here. No worries there. We're all good. Gameplay additions. I think it's going to be huge to be able to check on everything that you're going to be able to craft. Check on that quality. Just the amount of information we're going to be able to get from FPS scanning has me very excited. I'm guessing I'm going to have to take my inventory hotkey off of tab and put it back on I. Tab scanning is, I imagine, what's going to be the standard.
I imagine, yeah. From what I've seen, it's going to be just exactly the same as ship scanning, but with a more limited range.
Let's see, what do we got going on here? Just trying to check everything out. We got that UEE badge that we may or may not be able to see. Cafe Musain. I just love the vibes in the back of this Cutlass. Maybe next time we'll go somewhere that we're not going to freeze to death, so we can have those windows open and have a really cool view. Maybe Crusader, maybe a moon or a planet. And each of these podcasts we're going to go through, we're going to be in a different ship, a different interior, a different setting. We're gonna do kind of the Jericho Talks experience kind of thing. Jericho Talks with monkeys, you know, something like that. And it's going to be a little goofy. We're going to have this podcast vibe going. We're going to be in different locations. We're going to be in different ships, and we're just going to be enjoying the game. I know in the future we're going to do some Origin ships because, you know, they're finally going to have a use. You can just interact socially in them. I think that's going to be huge.
Finally giving a purpose to Origin as a producer.
Current development status of all of the things we talked about, like you said, is roughly 90% complete. It says the team is currently finalizing the last details, moving towards the sign-off phase. Then they'll be moving to engineering for implementation into the game.
Yeah, so like you were saying, it sounds like they just have a few more finishing touches to put on, and then they just got to figure out how to get it into the game.
Yeah, and I really do think that they have most of this designed in Squadron 42, and they're just trying to find the right technology and balance to implement it into live. Since we're going to have PvP interactions, that's a whole different balancing system. Way more interactions going on in every part of the game, way more entities to scan, stuff like that. It's going to be way different than Squadron 42.
Oh, 100%. And yeah, like you said, it's more than likely balancing is probably the biggest thing that they're going to have to do as far as implementing these new systems.
Now, if there's anything we missed that you want to hear about, talk about, this is the YouTube link to Star Citizen. You can just type in Star Citizen Live. It should be the most recent one. You can click play.
This question,
and you've got Jared Disco Lando here. And he's talking about this question.
From Star Citizen Disco Lando. Where's my goddamn Ape-X Valor? Okay.
Language, Jared.
We are not getting any audio on the video.
Oh, okay. Well, he said, where is my bleep bleep Ape-X Valacar? It's funny that he submits questions to himself for the podcast. If you guys want to watch it, look up Star Citizen Live. I think Jared's a hoot to listen to and watch. Dad Lando, Disco Lando. He also talks about his spaceship office a little bit and how the majority of the collectibles there actually came from his house. And he just got to put his toys into his spaceship. I think that's personally pretty awesome. If you guys have any questions, leave them below in the comments. If there's anything we missed that you want in a future video, future podcast, if you are a streamer, podcaster, want to be part of the org, want to help out the next time, leave a comment below with some of your details. We might be able to get a hold of you. Maybe we can co-op something. Thanks for watching, guys. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Hero, you got anything to leave our viewers off with today?
I mean, we definitely covered everything that I wanted to talk about as far as these game changes go. I think the only thing that I might have to say is thank you guys for being here. Let us know what you want to hear about in the next episode. And if you are interested in joining the Space Monkeys, next episode I should have a proper link for you guys to be able to click on, or we will leave some links to the org pages in the description.
All right, awesome. And in the description of all of my videos, I do have the org page for Voice of Jericho, of course, the Star Citizen referral code, if you're interested in what we're talking about. Pico, do you have anything for the viewers? Yeah, no.
It sounds like Pico doesn't have anything for him.
It's his first podcast. He's got stage fright. It's all right. Maybe he'll talk next time. Maybe we can get a voice for Pico. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hope this was good and informational to you. Let me know what we can do better next time in the future. Leave us a comment, like, and subscribe. Please, it does help. Any interaction with the channel itself is tremendously helpful. Especially for me as a Christian, part of my mission is to get the gospel out to as many people as possible so that they can hear the word of God, so that people can know that they are genuinely loved. And the farther that my channel goes, the farther that that message goes. Each person is genuinely loved by God, and I need to extend that love and grace to them. Thank you so much for being part of this. You guys have a good night.